Alright. So Happy New Year everyone on the recording. Just getting rolling here. We got a couple questions from Slav. And Happy New Year, Tony. Alright, so last session, oops. Yeah, Slav asked, if you could use the same email, like the same blogger account that you do, like you're set up with. You set up webmaster tools and all that stuff. And I said probably not, and that was correct. He said you want to keep that totally separate. That's he kind of compared it to, you register a money site in your name, and then you register, a PBN in your name, and then you're linking, you know, from your PBN to your money site under the same name, which is bad. So, see, I was correct in that I wouldn't do that, and Jimmy said the same thing. So, when you're doing that setup, you're setting up your accounts with your Gmail, don't use the same blogger account under that email. And we got another one from Slav. And by the way, I'm sick again. Well, I'm just getting over it again. So sorry if I'm coughing into the mic at all this session. Um, yeah, just add posts, Slav. I wouldn't necessarily create a Facebook for each silo. I would just link to them, from the one account. And, I also, this brings up another point. I talked to Sue about, when you're doing your social, like, Facebook, Twitter, do you really have to go out and add friends, add followers? And, I mean, she recommended that people do it, especially for important sites, because, like, for example, on Facebook, when you make a post, it goes out to all your friends' walls, or their news feeds. So you got all those. Like if you have a link in your post you do, and it's showing up on 500 people's different wall or news feeds, and that's more power for you. But at the same time, excuse me, I know people who don't worry about adding friends really or followers, and they do fine with it as well. But you can get more power out of adding people, adding friends and stuff like that. Just kind of like a side note there. Alright, so let's go see if we have any more questions. Alright, cool. We got some rolling in. Good. Alright, from David here. With Calcast, we're just playing with stuff, David. I actually haven't even messed with that in a while because I've been so busy with other stuff. But yeah, that's just stuff we were playing around with, testing. From David. I mean, it depends what I'm doing. Like, for me personally, I like using OpenSite Explorer for finding PBNs because they just do a good. Their scoring system's very easy to read. For me, at least, and I think it's easy for a lot of other people because we teach the domain authority and page authority, and we use their numbers a lot in determining the value of a site. Whereas like Hrefs, I'll use more for looking at kind of like reverse engineering sites and analyzing because they really break down like anchor text percentages and all that stuff very well. But remember that the OMG Command Center has all three of these in there. So it's a little slower, the OMG Command Center, which is why I'm actually still a member of these two. But I have used it, and I mean, having all this data in front of you in one place is very useful. It's not like we're affiliated with Kyle. We recommend that we don't make any money off people joining it. So I'm not just saying that. I mean, it really can save you a lot of money. He's done a great job adding new features. So I mean, it is a really good tool. But yeah, I mean, for PBNs, I use OpenSite Explorer metrics, David, and then for analyzing like stuff like anchor text percentages and stuff like that, I use Ahrefs. Because I just like the way each lays out for what I'm doing for each. From Leo. Yeah, you could do that, Leo. Since they're all on since the topics and services are related, I mean that could make sense to do. From Shane. Um, I mean, I still love PBN, Shane, but with local sites, I mean they've switched so much to like citations lately that actually what I would do for a client site is first of all make sure they're My Google Business verified. Make sure they're verified in Google and they're listed in My Business so they can get in the 7-pack. Then go out and get citations. Make sure they're done correctly. And then from there, you can add on to the power by sending a couple PBN links to it. Then if you need to, you can send DAS. I mean, that's the order that I'm taking local client sites in. I may work in DAS a little earlier, like light forms of it. But I mean, really, it just depends on what the market is and what you like personally. What I like about PBNs is you have total control of the anchor text, and it's a unique IP. And when you send like a specific anchor text at a site, especially if it has mostly branded anchor text, if you get a local client and you send a bunch of citations, it's going to be all branded anchor text, like URL links, company name, and then you can use PBNs to kind of send some specific anchor text and let Google know, like for sure, this is what this is about. Like this is Nashville plumbers. This site is about Nashville plumbers. So you can send that exact anchor text, and you can do the same thing with DAS. But again, I just like how PBNs are on unique IPs. But really, it's just because I've been doing PBNs so long, I'm so comfortable with them. You can really do DAS and not even use PBNs if you want. It's just, I mean, it's preference. But in the really tough niches, I mean, you can use all of it. You can do. I still recommend the same steps initially. Get verified, send citations, and then you can start the DAS. Because once your citations get done, then you can juice up those citations. You can send different Web 2.0s to your citations, start ranking your citations. You can use PBNs for your citations, which is a form of DAS, because you're not only boosting the citations, but you're also boosting your money site because the citations linked to them. So I mean, you can really do it either way. But I definitely recommend starting by getting My Google Business verified and then sending citations. And then from there, you can go with DAS or PBNs or both, depending on the competition. All right, from David. I mean, yeah, you can do that as long as you're not linking to any of those sites on the same private hosting from the same PBN. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have, two money sites on the same IP, and then you're using a PBN to link to both money sites, you're linking to two totally different money sites on the same IP, which basically means the same owner of the domain. That looks pretty fishy. So as long as you're not doing that, you're only linking to one at a time, then you should be fine there. From Leo. To give you an exact, Leo's talking about his previous question of he has multiple sites for his business, and he wanted to put them all in the same domain to boost the domain authority. I would have to see it to give you an exact answer, but like I said before, that should be fine. It depends on the situation though, if I would do it or not. But either way, whether I would do it or not, it would be fine to do. From Marina. Yeah, all those are still safe. But again, on my PBNs for Link Juice Keeper, I have a video on this in the members area. If there's not a whole bunch of links going to non-existent pages, then I won't include that, and I'll manually do 301s. Like if there's only 2 pages that we're getting links that are no longer there, I'll just manually 301 them. Just so I don't have Link Juice Keeper on every single one of my PBNs. Because I notice a lot of PBNs, they don't even have links going to inner pages that are no longer there, so there's no reason to use it. But yeah, Hacker Spanker, Spider Spanker is still fine to use. From Shane. It's really tough to give a general timeline because, niches are so different. We just picked up a client. He was already My Google Business verified. He already had an Instagram and a Facebook. Within a week, we had him first page for a lot of his terms within a week. But if it's a business that's not even My Google Business verified, or they're in a tougher niche, or both, that's something that could take 6 months. So it depends on what position their business is in, and as far as have they already started? Are they My Google Business verified? Do they even have a site yet? How much competition is there? It's possible to do it very, very quickly. For that particular client I'm talking about, he's in Brentwood, which is not huge. I think it's like 100,000 people. Let's go see. All right, 40,000 people. So it's a fairly small city. Medium competition niche. So, I think I've sent like 2 PBNs to his Instagram, Facebook, and his website. So I've just used 2 PBNs, and within a week, everything was popping very quickly. I've also done citations, but they're still getting done. They haven't kicked in yet, but he's already like number 3 in the 7-pack just from the PBN links, boosting that domain authority. But yeah, this is lower competition because of the population too. So it depends on a lot of factors like that. And luckily, he was already My Google Business verified, so we didn't have to go, take 3 weeks for that process. And he had the Facebook and Instagram with followers already, which makes it very easy. So, all right, let's go get a new batch of questions. Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself while I cough so I'm not coughing into the mic. 1 second. Alright. So next one from Mick. Web design question. I'm not very good at web design, but let's see. Yeah, that's not a question I can help you much with, Mick. You might want to ask that in the Facebook group. A lot of people who know about web design there. But for a lot of my sites, I don't even deal with the design. I'm not as familiar with Genesis Dynamic either, like specific settings. So I would ask that in the group. From Susie. I mean, I mostly use the stringing technique for the same page, Susie. So, I mean, let's see. If you got like plumbers.com, then you're targeting like city or something like that. You know, for plumbers.com, Philadelphia, I might do something like, you know, you got your Philadelphia plumbers. And then maybe you just do plumbing company. And then maybe plumber in Philadelphia, PA. And then maybe just plumbers. And then maybe rank for that. So, and then maybe you have like Seattle. So I'm not really going to count this page as for this one. Like I'm going to do totally different. Like I'm not this what I did for this page doesn't really matter for this page. I mean, it does in a way, but that's not the way I'm looking at it. So, you know, here I'm going to do maybe something like Seattle, Washington plumber, um, maybe like plumbing services, and then maybe like HVAC. I don't know this niche that well, so I don't know the best words, but okay. So, but the point is, I'm not like what I did here is not really affecting what I did here. All right. All right. From Morgan. Yeah, you can definitely use 20 Web 2.0 sites. Remember, you don't necessarily have to point them to the home page, or I'm sorry, to your money site. You can, if you got 20 Web 2.0s, maybe you have like your main 3 Web 2.0s. Let's say your main 5 pointing to money site, and then you can use your others for DAS. 15 Web 2.0 pointing to other Web 2.0s, or to 5 main Web 2.0s. Alright, so if you have 20, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily point them all at the money site. With what we know with DAS, you can kind of use these 15 as like, kind of like chargers for your 5 main ones. Make these more powerful, and then just have fewer links going to your money site that are more powerful. Because, I mean, that's kind of what Google's looking for more now is like more powerful, like a less amount of more powerful links. From Marina. You can still do Google Business for those type of sites, Marina. We just did some training on virtual offices on how you can set those up. I don't know if they've been posted yet, but Joe Marfaglio made videos on how you can do virtual offices, or he has a free way where you don't have to use a virtual office. So I mean, yeah, you can do that and send citations to your My City guide. From Sue. No, I wouldn't necessarily worry about changing your IP. If you want to, you can like clear your cache, your cookies and stuff. But I wouldn't necessarily worry about changing your IP. I don't worry too much about that, Sue, as far as where the link is in the content beginning, middle, or end of your Web 2.0s. Wherever it makes sense to put it, I would say. You can even mix it up if you want. But I mean, I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. From Sue. Yeah, I mean, for that, it really depends on how, like, what the Facebook fan page is for. I mean, if it's closely related to, like, your personal business or something kind of connected to your personal business, you can definitely just make a fan page off your, personal account. But for most stuff, I'm guessing that you're just going to be creating a new account. But there definitely is things where you can create, a fan page off your personal account, which you already have set up. There's only a few more questions, so let's make sure you guys put it on me. Alright, from Marina. Yeah, dashes are okay to use, although I don't necessarily love them. But I mean, yeah, they work fine. I'll usually just add in like another letter or word or whatever the case is, kind of make it a partial EMD rather than going with a dash. But that's just been my preference. But you can do either. From Susie. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you're worried about that, I would just clear your cache and your history and all that before you do each, you create each account. But honestly, personally, I don't worry about that a ton. Because, I mean, a lot of people, they'll use like Fiverr for people to create those accounts for them. Like they'll create accounts for Web 2.0, and I highly doubt that those people do anything for that, to be honest. From David. No, the only thing that's going to affect the link juice, David, is if you buy the PBN and it loses a lot of links. I mean, the link's what's powering it. The links going to the site. So, I mean, as long as those links are still there, it's still got the power. But what I've been doing, I made an announcement about this in case you missed it, is when I set up my PBNs ahead of time, like with WordPress, I'll set the option to request the search engines, not to index it. Because what I saw happening was there were certain sites that had been sitting there with no content on it for a couple months, and they got hit with a thin content penalty, which is just a pain. So, if you set them up ahead of time and you install WordPress, just make sure you do the setting where you request search engines not to index the site. And that's under settings reading, I believe. And there's a little box there you can check. Yeah, I mean, there's people who have been using IP networks successfully in our group, like Gregory Ortiz uses them. I know, because supposedly they have some stuff set up where Google can't tell it's coming from the same host. I haven't personally used them yet. I have an account with 80 IPs, and I'm getting some PBN set up now to do testing myself. But I mean, that's just a personal choice. I don't know like the technical aspects of why or what they're doing to create that, and I don't know if it's something that Google can figure out or not. Supposedly it's okay from some people who are pretty technical, and it should be fine long term. But I mean, I'm a very safe player, and I'm not gonna put all my eggs in that basket. I might start using it for some sites, but if I have like a really really important site, I probably wouldn't. I mean, just me, because I'm very safe. So I mean, that's just up to you on what you want to use there. And again, I don't understand the technical aspects of that, which is why I'm a little hesitant of using them like linking to a site from them with a whole bunch of PBNs if it's important, even if it's working fine now and people are saying it'll work in the future. You never know. So. Okay, from Christian. Yeah, like I said, Christian, I would make sure he's my Google Business verified. Um, I don't know what stage the client's at. Like, I don't know if he has social. Like, did you do a new site for him? Did he have previous links? All that stuff's important to know with that question. Because I mean, he could have previous links that got him penalized. You could have done a brand new site, which may, in a competitive market, may take a little while to rank. It may not be my Google Business verified, which is going to be tough to rank if you're in a competitive niche in local. If you're not verified, you might not have done any citations, which again, in a tough niche, may be hard to rank. So all those things are things that I would look at. From Peter here. If a company has websites for multiple locations, he's saying, can you send a PBN to like a bunch of the location websites at once? I would check with them, Peter, to see if their websites are on the same IP, or you can just do a DNS lookup. It should show the IP. I think this is the IP of the site. So I mean, if the same exact IP is showing up for all the sites, and I wouldn't link to multiple sites at once. If they're on different IPs, it'll be fine to do that. Just don't do it too much. Like for example, if they have 5 sites, client sites 1 through 5, don't link to like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Like, don't create the same pattern. You'd want to link to maybe like 1 and 2 on the first post. Then maybe on the second PBN you can link to 3, 4, and 5. And then maybe on the next one you can link to like 1 and 5. Then maybe you can link to 2 and 4. Like, try not to create that same pattern. And then maybe on the next one you just link to one of them, just number 5 or number 4 or whatever. Just don't create this pattern where you're linking to the same exact sites over and over and over again. But first, make sure they're not on the same IP, the money sites. Alright, from Chris. Not exactly exact anchor, Chris. You probably want to use like LSI or Longtail. Because I would use more the exact match more for linking to your money site. So if you're trying to rank for like Dallas Plumbers, and let's say you're going Tumblr to Weebly to money site. I mean, you're gonna want your link from your Weebly to your money site being more exact. If you're trying to rank for Dallas Plumbers, you're either going to do Dallas Plumbers, or you're going to do like Plumbers in Dallas. And then from Tumblr to Weebly, you can do more something like, find a plumber in the Dallas area. So you can do something like that. Or there's not much LSI for this. What you could do, like if you're linking from Dallas Plumbers from here to here, you could link Plumbers in Dallas from Tumblr to Weebly. But be careful with that. You're probably safer with the long tail because they can still identify it as a Dallas Plumber type link. And then you're using long tail and being safe. So that's probably how I would do that. And the more LSI there is, the better, because then this is kind of the only LSI version you can do. Or you could do like plumbing in Dallas, like Dallas, Texas. That could be a good one to use from your Tumblr to your Weebly. And then you could do, Dallas Plumbers from your Weebly to your money. From Morgan. I usually use my. I don't. I have more high paid VAs, like people from OMG, because they're good people and I like the work they do, so I'd rather just pay more money. But I usually just have them do the stuff that's like busy work for me. Like now I have people setting up my excuse me, setting up my PBNs for me. Even setting up the hosting and stuff. I started doing. I have someone that's actually going to start posting to my PBNs for me, which I never did before. But basically the stuff that's busy work. And then anything that's like a lot more skill related, I'll just do myself, like, reverse engineering, analyzing changes and stuff like that, I'll do myself. Running tests, figuring out which test to run. From Glenn here. I don't have much experience with that, Glenn, so I don't. Excuse me. So I wouldn't probably have the best advice on that. That might be a topic. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. Alright, sorry, this flu is killing me. Yeah, so that's probably a topic I would bring up in the Facebook group because again, I don't have any experience with that exact service, so I don't know much about that. From Sue here. I'm sure they can see it, Sue, but I mean, I doubt it's going to hurt you unless you have like a lot of the other same type of stuff going on. Like if you're using all the same all the same account under the same Web 2.0 and all under the same whatever else, then they might start putting it together. But that's just kind of like one source. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it would be safer to set up a different account for each, but that's not something that I would worry a ton about, Sue. I mean, me personally. For Marine here. Well, because they can still pull relevance from where you're getting your links from, Marina. So if you're getting like citations from like a plumbing directory, the Google can put together that it's about plumbing. But again, that's why I like like mixing in PBNs, because with sites like that, you can help like nail down that identity. You know what I mean? Like because you can create specific anchor text for the keyword you're trying to rank for, and then that tells Google more about what the business is about. Like they can put it together, they can piece it together more and more. So I mean that's why I mentioned that I like to use PBNs with citations, especially like for medium to higher level, because then you can get more of an identification about what the site's about. Like for example, if you go out and do citations for a client that's just a brand name, they don't have plumbing in the company name or anything like that. Maybe you get to the bottom of maps because Google, they know you're getting relevant links from plumbing stuff, but at the same time, remember how much anchor text has to do with identification. So we can use PBNs to send specific anchor text to it, even a couple of them, and that will greatly increase the identification of being a plumbing site. If you go put in Nashville TN plumbers into an anchor text, Google's like, oh, this site is definitely about Nashville, Tennessee plumbers. So we're going to bump them up for that. So that's why I said that I like using PBNs with citations to kind of help identify sometimes. All right, from Chris. I mean, the good thing about PBNs is, again, it's a unique IP. You know what I mean? A lot of those high demand authority sites, they're linking, it's like a common link. So, I mean, there's really goods and bads to both sides. But, I mean, like I said, either way is fine. And remember that I'm also very good at PBNs. I've been doing them a long time, I have a lot of experience with them. So, I mean, for me, just PBNs are an easy tool. Some people may not be as good as finding the right PBNs because they just don't have the experience. I mean, but for me, I've been doing it so long that it's an easy choice to use them. But I mean, remember, even with your PBNs, like you can DAS those up. Like you can, like I know that the social properties like Weebly are going to have higher domain authority, but again, this is a unique IP, and then you can just DAS those up. Like if you want a little more social proof, send some social explosion to that PBN, or you can DAS it up the PBN just like you would a money site or a Web 2.0. So I mean, really, either way is fine to go. From Morgan. I mean, I can't necessarily recommend IFTTT because I haven't used them, but I've heard good things about them. I've looked into them a little bit, and it looks like that it's pretty cool what they do. But again, I can't necessarily recommend something I haven't used, but it does look pretty cool. that tool. From Leo here. I'm not sure exactly the exact answer for that, Leo. If he'll bring it up like the same way, because I mean, technically it's hard to say like how all that works, but I mean to kind of answer your question, it will bring it up. I don't know if it does it the same way, but it will bring it up. From Sue. I mean, excuse me again. Sorry, guys. I mean, yeah, like same thing with PBN, Sue. Like you can do a PBN and make it kind of like general topic, but it's like the more sites you link to from PBN, the little more risk because if something happens to that, that's going to affect all those sites that are on that PBN. I mean, same thing with a Web 2.0. If something ever happened, it's less likely to happen with a Web 2.0, so it's probably a little safer than the PBN example. But if something did happen, then everything on that Weebly is going to be affected. So, I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine to do. It's just how much risk do you want to put in? And I don't even think it's that much risk. I don't want to scare you into not doing it. But just know that, speaking of numbers, like percentages, it does put the risk up a little bit, just because you're linking to more stuff. But, I mean, would I do it? Absolutely. Probably even with important sites, I would do it with. Because it is a Web 2.0 with high domain authority, and something happening to it is very slim. And being that you make it look real, since they're somewhat related, broad niche health topic, it should be totally fine. So I just want you to know, like if you're speaking numbers, like percentages, it just increases the risk a little bit. That's all. But you'll be fine doing it. Daphne. I've actually seen this happen lately, Daphne. I did a test on a whole bunch of sites, and like for example, I'll show you what happened here. Sorry, I got distracted. So, for example, I sent a link to a site in Nashville with anchor text Nashville MMA. Okay, and it rose the site. The site was like third page. I think it was like number 25. And with one PBN, the site went. It went from page 3, I think like number 26, to number 9 for Nashville MMA. And then for MMA in Nashville, it went from like number 30 to number 7. So it actually rose it more for the reverse, like that kind of like the LSI version. And then after like a week, this one disappeared. This version disappeared. This one stayed. And I use this exact anchor, so it's almost like they were faking an over optimization because 3 weeks later this reappeared at number 9. And I saw that happen with a couple different tests I was doing where they made it disappear for a couple weeks and then it came back. It's almost like they were seeing if anything would get changed or something like that. So depending on how long ago it happened, I would just give it some time and it should come back. And also, what I didn't realize with your question is I don't know how many links you sent, so you could actually really be over optimized. So it depends on how many links you sent and what type of anchor text you used and all that stuff. But I would give it time, most likely. from Slav. Probably like 5 pages, Slav, is the minimum that I would do. From Marina. I create follow links. I tested with no follow Marina, and they don't give much movement. You need a good amount of no follow to get the proper movement. Like I did some pretty non-competitive niches. Like for example, I think I did a test with this with a niche like Delaware Handyman, and I did the test with a site that was like number 11, and I think I moved it up to like number 9 when I used the exact anchor text, and all their anchor was branded. So if I used if I made it follow, I would expect this to jump in the top 3 because I know this isn't very competitive, and it's in a location that doesn't get a ton of competition, Delaware. So I could just tell from the movement, and I did a few different tests, obviously, that these no follow links, that having no follow really doesn't do much. You can get more movement from no follow with bulk links, like bulk no follow, but with PBNs, from what I've seen, I don't think it's worth using the no follow for that. Right, let me go get a new screenshot. I'll get David's question in there. Right, I'm going to pause this for 1 second. I'll run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Been drinking so much water from being sick. Trying to get better. Alright, so we got David here talking about PBNs. I don't know Michael Landau Spears. I think he's a group member, but I don't know him personally. Um, I wouldn't say Domain Authority is fast growing and sufficient, David. I still look at that as one of my main things. I start with Domain Authority as a filtering, and then from there, I'll look at the quality of links, and then from there, I might go look at the trust flow and citation flow. But I still use Domain Authority as one of my main kind of opening factors, and then I'll see if the links back it up. And of course, you can also, with OMG Command Center, since you get all those features, that's one thing that I use the OMG Command Center for, is to maybe look at the trust and citation flow. But that would apply that to all PBNs. From Slav. It depends on what your current anchor text is, Slav. So it just depends. You can, if you have all branded anchor text, and you want to rank for Nashville Plumber, you're going to want to get that in there. You know what I mean? Like if you have all branded anchor text and you use a keyword specific anchor text, it's going to help you rank a lot for that keyword specific anchor text. Because even though Google can identify what your site's about by reference links, because they can tell they're relevant, anchor text is still huge for an identifying factor. So again, it just depends on what your current anchor text is. From Thierry. I get what you're saying, Thierry. I think it's okay to have an inner page optimized for that keyword, but also, I mean, sending like an identifying keyword to the homepage definitely wouldn't hurt. Like it, like help you ranking for that. You know what I mean? So, like if you have a site on like HVAC, and then one of the inner pages like plumbing services, like sending some links to the home page to also be about plumbing services, not just the in page, will probably help you get a better ranking in the subject pack for actual plumbing services, not just HVAC. So I mean, what you can do, Thierry, is juice up the inner page for whatever the targeted keyword is and see how it does you for the 7 pack. And if it doesn't get you where you want, then you can start sending some of that identifying to the home page. Like website name slash we deal with plumbing services in Seattle, whatever the case, and just kind of identifying what that inner page is about to the home page as well. I mean, generally, PR1, maybe domain authority 15 to 25, 2, maybe 25 to 35, and then 3, maybe 35 to 45. But it also, like, that's why you gotta look at the links as well. Like, if there's a lot of no file, like, OpenSite Explorer does a good job of determining domain authority, but they give too much credit to no follow links and they don't give enough credit to EDU and government links. So you got to consider those two factors and just look at the quality of the links overall. But I mean, as a general scoring, that's about what I would use if the links are good. Have a good day, Sue. From Janet. Depends how much Google likes your site and how much they visit it, but average maybe 5 days. I don't know, something like that, Jeanette. A few days. I've had sites where it takes a couple weeks sometimes. I've had sites where the changes there are within a few hours. Alright, from Shane. I would always use file, though, for interlinking, Sean. From Eric. I mean, the only thing I would do different is just not have all my PBNs coming from the same host. If those PBNs weren't coming from the same host, it would still be where it was. From David. You're welcome very much, David. We got a few more minutes, so I'm going to see if any more questions roll in, but that's it for now. So I'm going to give a couple more minutes, and we'll answer any final questions. Alright, so we got a couple more here. I'll take these before I go. I gotta go and get Bryson, my son. Alright. I mean, that's a tough question, Daphne, because it really depends how many Web 2.0s you have and, what type of DAS you're doing, like how deep you're doing it. That's a tough question just because there's so many other questions that I would have about, what you have. But I mean, you could use stuff like for example, you can like about.us. I think let me see if Jimmy still has the Calcast up. It doesn't look like it's up still. But you can use a service like about.us where you can list like a whole bunch of properties. And if you have like a plumbing business where you have like a Facebook, Twitter, uh, maybe you have like a Weebly up, maybe like a Delicious account, something like that. List all four of those, and then that's juicing all four of those Web 2.0s, which are juicing your money site, and then you can juice the about.us. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many different things you can do, literally. From Shane. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a difference. Basically, no file. You're telling them not to pass any juice at all. Even though there is some juice pass, it's less. So, I mean, you're just passing less juice if you're doing no follow from Marina. No. I mean, I would stay away from it because I did that, and I got sorry. I keep getting this itch in my chest. It's horrible. I went back, changed a whole bunch of PBN anchor text, and the site that I did it for totally dropped off for like 6 months. And I think that's actually a spam filter now. Like if you go onto a page and you just change the anchor text of a link, that's kind of like a spam signal. So I wouldn't do that. If you want to change it, delete the post and just make a new one. From Chris. What I would have done different, Chris, is been more active on my social. So done more with the Facebook and the Twitter and all that because we didn't really do much with it. Probably created more social, juiced up the socials, which we didn't even really do. Probably would have juiced up a lot of the PBNs I was using. So instead of like keep adding PBNs, I would have done more of the main authority stacking to the links that I already had. And that's pretty much. And of course, I would have used different hosts for the PBNs because that's what hurt it in the end. Alright, so we got, looks like one more. So I'll take this last one, then we'll get rolling. Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, hopefully after today I'll be feeling better. It's been like 3 weeks. It's ridiculous, but I do feel a little better today. Alright, from Eric. Yeah, absolutely, Eric. I mean, Social Explosion helps make it more powerful. It helps it index quicker. It just gives them more trust. But yeah, I mean, it would have worked fine without Social Explosion. That was a pretty Franklin's. I think we saw when I did the Brentwood search, they came up as like 65,000. So they're not a big city, small to medium size. So even without Social Explosion, would have been pretty. It may have taken another PBN all around to rank for what I was, but yeah, I mean, without Social Explosion, it would have been fine. Alright, guys, so I'm going to end this session here. I'll get this recording over to David probably by tonight. And my next session will most likely be early next week. Alright? Thank you all for coming, and hopefully next week I won't be coughing into the mic the whole time. So I will see you all on the next one.